Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that wanted to be more present, to have higher levels of mindfulness, in particular when they were communicating with people they worked with, but also socially as well. They wanted to feel more present. Because they were intelligent, they could figure out the intention of the person that was communicating with them pretty quickly. They would stop them short. They would jump in and kind of almost rush the element of the communication rather than taking the time to fully be present and understand. And they were aware that this was causing issues and could cause bigger issues in their life. So what you're going to hear is a hypnosis session that starts with timelines into a future where nothing changes and this problem has impacts later on in life, before reversing that and then identifying a different timeline where the change does take place. And by doing so, they were at their best in terms of their communication when they were challenged, when it required them to raise their game. And by having that as a framework of making it important to be mindful, the intention therefore creates that more present state. But they also wanted to have boundaries. And for them, rather than being in a conversation but not fully present, they'd rather either be in the conversation fully or not in the conversation at all. So there's a bit about boundary setting here as well. At its core, this is a session about building the muscle of mindfulness. And if you feel like that would benefit you, whether that applies to communication or not, then I think you'll get some value from this. If, however, you're looking for something a bit more bespoke, a bit more individual to your needs, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a completely free consultation to explore working with me. For now, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, focus your mind on the sound of my voice. As you breathe in longer than you normally would. And as you exhale, feel a wonderful sense of release, that as you breathe out, tension, stress or worries start to leave your body in that outward breath. That's it. And I want you to think of a time where you felt fully engaged. I want you to think of a time of perhaps trail running. Feel the energy. Remember the terrain. I want you to feel effortlessly mindful. You were running fast. perhaps downhill. So much information to process, and yet your brain noticed what you needed to notice. And in doing so, have a sense that you made the evaluation. It was important to be present, and you were present. And I want you to feel now that you are at your most mindful when it matters. So breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation as you continue to imagine running. And the faster you run, the more mindful you need to be. And I want you to, as you allow your unconscious to run for you, to think of a future where you're never as mindful or as present as you need to be. Just imagine floating up above yourself, creating a timeline into your future, a timeline where you see yourself. Maybe 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 or 3 years from now, see yourself with a young family. And I want you to see a version of you giving the minimum presence and attention needed just to assess information, a lack of connection, a lack of presence. I want you to see a version of you that is communicating on autopilot. As time goes on, I want you to see the cost of that. What it costs you in your business relationships and the loyalty of team members, on their willingness to come to you with ideas or information that you need to hear. The most costly opportunities are the ones you never realize. The biggest mistakes are the ones that you were unaware of. So follow that timeline and just see how devastating it can be to never get to the full level of presence, attention, and mindfulness when it comes to communication. See what it costs you in business, with friendships, in your personal relationship, and perhaps with children that aren't even born yet. Continue that timeline all the way into the future. I want you to see yourself perhaps a decade from now. I want you to see a version of you that's missed out on so much by saving a few seconds. I want you to amplify by adding potential consequences. What could it cost you? Take it to a dark place where the relationships you value the most are vacant. Perhaps imagine seeing yourself as a man, maybe in your 50s, communicating with a child, and observe that when you communicate with that child, they're on a digital device giving you 2 or 3% of their attention. And then step into that future version of you on the receiving end. That it's not about what you're saying. It's about the exchange of energy that comes through that communication. And in that moment, I want you to feel cheated. frustrated, I want you to feel also a sense of regret. Because maybe this child that is giving you such little of their time, energy, emotion, and attention learned that from you. And then just imagine rewinding everything all the way back to the present moment and see a version of you with a desire to level up, to take an all or nothing approach. That if a communication or interaction is worth having, then it's worth having proper interaction. That if you're going to do it properly or not at all. And if your unconscious is willing to hold yourself to a new standard, a higher standard, to be more discerning with your level of human interaction, but when you are interacting, it matters more than anything else. That to withhold your attention, your presence, feels like you're shortchanging the person you're communicating with. And maybe you've been shortchanged in your past. Someone you wanted to have their full attention and you got the crumbs of that communication. And I wonder if your unconscious can get you to a place where enough is enough. To enable a new direction to take place, taking your future on a timeline where your presence is a gift that is valuable to you and others. But by being fully present just requires you to make the evaluation that if something's worth doing, it's worth doing properly. And if your unconscious is willing to make that choice, let me know by nodding your head. And then float up and see that timeline. See yourself having less meetings, but being fully present in those meetings. Perhaps a level of discernment where less is more. You can be fully present because you've already made the evaluation that your communication and interaction matters in those moments. It either happens well or doesn't happen at all, and follow that timeline and realize that every time you're communicating with a colleague, maybe someone else in your industry, you are training your mind with the level of skills that would help in family relationships and personal relationships forever. Because you couldn't forget how to talk if you tried. You couldn't forget how to read if you tried. You couldn't forget how to walk if you tried. I want you to make the evaluation that when you elevate your communication skills, mindfulness and presence to that highest level it's ever been, you won't be able to unlearn that. That it becomes effortlessly mindful, and follow that timeline into your future and see a much more rewarding future for you. And as you observe that future, I want you to get a sense that things are changing. That every time you enter a conversation, consciously or unconsciously, you evaluate its importance. And if it's worth having, you give it your full energy and attention. That you find it easy to distinguish between valuable conversations and those that don't require your focus, effortlessly prioritizing your most important ones. That when you decide to engage in communication, I wonder if you could naturally feel energized, present, and completely focused, where your mind becomes sharp and clear, and you are fully immersed in the conversation, giving 100% of your attention. That you can make the decision that if a conversation doesn't deserve your full attention, you confidently say no, preserving your energy for what truly matters. And as you engage, you feel empowered by your ability to be mindful and present, deepening the connection with the person you're speaking to. So right now, just decide to set a higher standard for your interactions, therefore making each moment of communication an opportunity for growth, where your focus and mindfulness continue to improve, making you feel more effective and confident with every conversation, where you embrace the challenge of being fully present, viewing it as a way to refine your ability to communicate deeply and meaningfully. It's not about making sense of what's being said. The goal now is to make the other person feel truly heard, seen, and understood. A more difficult challenge, but a challenge you're more than capable of rising to, as you feel complete control of your attention and focus, choosing to direct it only to conversations and interactions that deserve your full presence. In the same way that you work out in the gym, what if you imagine every human interaction as an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to build that muscle of mindfulness, where you effortlessly stay engaged and aware of the moment? That every time you could be distracted and choose not to, you are strengthening that muscle, allowing your full attention to be on the person in front of you as they deserve. And when you communicate, you do so with purpose, clarity, and complete attention, which leaves a positive impact on others. I want you to feel that your focus during communication strengthens the bonds between you and the people who matter most in your life. And each time you notice a meaningful conversation strengthening a meaningful connection, feel that dopamine that used to come from distractions now coming from incremental improvements in your ability to be present, mindful, and aware. And I wonder if you could approach each conversation with a sense of mindfulness, noticing the things you never noticed before: choice of words, tonality, tiny micro expressions, gestures, breathing rate. Some people even notice the speed of the heart rate in those tiny veins and pulses in the neck or near the temple. As you make the evaluation, you can never master communication, you can only ever improve it. And that unwinnable game becomes a tantalizing challenge for someone always eager to learn. And every time you notice a breakthrough, you feel a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, knowing that in every important conversation, you gave 100% of yourself, and others appreciate that dedication. So follow that timeline all the way forward. See that future version of you having a conversation with a child, maybe your child that's now an adult, that as you communicate, they give you the gift of 100% of their time, energy, presence, and attention. See that version of you feeling valued, respected, and important. Step into that version of you, feel how good that feels. As you come to the evaluation that your child also learned this from you. Then return to the present moment, taking all of these distinctions with you. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect fully into the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.